Thanks for joining us on the John Mendola Show. We are driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers. Let's talk Bloomsburg University women's basketball. Bill Cleary, the head coach, joining us right now. Well, Bill, new season, exciting time to open up with a win, and you're going to have some road games coming up this weekend. But let's talk about the 2015-16 team. How excited are you?
Well, first off, John, thank you again so much for having me. I always enjoy talking with you. It's always a lot of fun. I really appreciate it. Very excited about the 2015-2016 season. Very, very excited. We have a lot of new faces, a lot of young kids, but we've always said in our program, I think a staple is it doesn't matter who's in our locker room, as long as you believe in yourself, you believe in the program, you believe in the coaches, and you believe in your teammates, we're going to win. And there's a lot of that in the locker room right now. So we're really excited and really amped up for this upcoming season.
Well, you have some good players back. You get a transfer in who's pretty darn good as well. But let's talk first about your bigs on the inside.
Well, I'll say it all starts with Adreana Sadowski. Adreana has been much better. I mean, every year you saw with Adreana, she's made big steps, big strides to become a better player, and she's without question done that again this year. And more importantly, is in her leadership role. It was funny. We talked with her over the summer about that was going to be a big important aspect if we were going to be successful this year as a team. That she was going to have to really get outside that comfort zone. And we were sitting with Alyssa Flanagan, our new assistant coach, Adreana and myself, and she's like, "I don't know if I can do this." And I'm like, "Well, you do, you can, you have it in you." And she's just been phenomenal. And now what the joke is, I thought you couldn't do this. And she's like, you were right, I had it in me all along, and she did. Without question, she's had it in her all along. So she's been, obviously, her basketball has gotten much better, and she's been great with that. But I think her biggest presence is felt literally inside that locker room with her leadership.
Well, great that you have a leader like that. How about the transfer of Mia Hopkins? I mean, it's still early, but talk about her coming in and playing some basketball for you.
Well, I don't know if you get a better opening night than you do than she had on Friday, November 13th. 24 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 1 charge, which she was actually in position for 2 others that they didn't call, and she was literally on the floor the entire night. She's just been everything that we hoped for and more. I mean, and she's learning a lot. I mean, you got to remember, this is a kid that hasn't played as much as I think she would have liked. And part of me, with all due respect to where she came from, I agree with her in that regard. She probably should have played more than she did. And, she's just, when you have a player of her caliber come up to you and to Coach Flan and say, "Coach, whatever you need me to do, I'll do. You just tell me." I mean, you can't ask for anything more than that. So she's been great. I mean, everything's an adjustment. Obviously when she first got here, there was an adjustment learning to what we do, and she was a freshman all over again. And so I think that was tough for her, which is tough for any transfer that we've ever had and any freshman that we've had. You're sitting there, you want to go, you can go, but you're still learning what we do. And I kept telling her, just trust the process because you fit perfectly with what we do. And I think you're seeing that right now.
She's a gym rat, a basketball junkie. You throw all those things out there. She just loves to compete. Says, you call her up at 1 a.m, hey, let's go play a one-on-one game. She'd be right there, I'm sure.
Listen, the other night, I'm watching film. She gives me a text. She goes, "Coach, is it possible for me to get in the gym tonight?" And there was a wrestling match. And I'm like, "Yeah, you can get me in." She goes, "Well, will the basket be down?" I'm like, "Mate, that's actually a good question." So she's like, "Listen, I'm going to be up there at such and such a time." So I drove up because I was going out there with my family and I. We were heading to church. And we stopped by the gym, made sure the lights were on, baskets were down. And they were, and so she was able to get in there, and there's no doubt in my mind she was in there, and probably bringing in a couple of players with her, some of her teammates with her. So that's the type of kid you have there with Mia Hopkins.
Coach, how about your guard play this year? What are you getting there, and what are you going to need in this PSAC league?
Well, I think with our guards this year, again, I think you have to go and talk about Morgan Clunk. Morgan Clunk has basically been a different player than she was a year ago, and I don't think she had necessarily a terrible year or a bad year, But we're talking about a kid who is finding herself. She's coming into her own, and she's been, again, you want to talk about someone else who's been leading extremely well and accepting that role. She's done phenomenal with that. We have a kid, Christy Constantino, who's transferred in from Stony Brook University, from our sister Carroll High School. She gives us quickness. She gives us steadiness at running the point. She's, down the stretch, she's a kid that we have no problem giving the ball to. And, she's a smart player, high IQ player. So she's done well. I think, and I can go on because we have so many guards. You have Julia Gantz, you have Alyssa Mack, you have, Alex Ross is a kid that, a kid that's returning that we need to talk about because, again, that's a kid that's just been transformed as well, like just a completely different player. You saw it last year with Alex Ross. You saw her getting better. You saw her understanding what, she needed to do and what we needed her to do. The problem for her was she was playing behind Adreana, Morgan, Marla Simmons, and Jocelyn Ford. Those are three tough players to play behind, and, she knows she's getting that opportunity right now, and let me tell you something, she's making the most. So, I think this year's team, we're deeper, we're more athletic, and we're faster, and I think we're smarter. And I think more importantly, we've got players that want to be here. They're excited to be here. They believe in what we do. They trust in what we do. And I think that speaks volumes because I don't think we'd be where we are right now if they didn't. And again, I think that's attributed to Alyssa Flanagan, who's my new assistant. She's been absolutely terrific. Haven't skipped a beat. In fact, with all due respect to Diane, because you know how great Diane was, the reason why we haven't been able to skip the beat is because she literally played in the system and was very successful in the system. So she's able to impart that knowledge to this young group. And again, Adreana, Morgan, and Alex, their leadership as well.
Well, you took a couple questions right out of my mouth. I was going to ask you about Alyssa Flanagan because you don't have as much experience back as far as what Diane brought to the table, but you said you have a young lady there that went through your system and she's coaching. You bring in 6 freshmen and you have a couple of transfers in there, so really a lot of newness. Do you feel like you're really working hard, but is it at the same time knowing that hey, you got to keep punching the clock there because everybody else is?
Well, it's funny, John, that you bring that up. I actually thought coming into this season, I'm going, oof, this is going to be, you got to be patient. You got to be understanding. There's a lot going on, all that stuff. And you take a look at the practice plans from today and you take it to a year ago, and we're exactly where we're at. Now, are we doing it as well as we were a year ago? No. In terms of understanding what we do. But in terms of intensity, in terms of scrambling, in terms of all those intangibles, we're doing it way better than we were a year ago. So, I think a lot of that's attributed to the newness of everything. Everyone here literally believes in what we're doing. I'm going to talk about Alyssa. Alyssa has been phenomenal. She's the first one in, last one to leave. She's, taken a lot off of my plate that I can't tell you how much I appreciate. But she has just been on top of things. I have to ask her anything. And I think the most important aspect, or the most important thing that she brings, is her energy, her passion, and her knowledge. Listen, she was a point guard for us for 4 years. She was basically another assistant coach for us. So she has 4 years' experience in our program as a coach. And again, the thing I love is the players want to pick her brain. The players want to say, Coach Flam, they want to talk. They want to talk about the Kayla Oxenriders, the Dana Wheelers, the Lauren Ellises, the Danielle Durs. They want to talk about them, Kat Nowak, the Brianna Dudek, because they want to know what the past was like, where it wasn't always like that here. And I think it's important because if you want to win championships, if you want to keep going forward, you got to know where your team's from. And I think that's that's something that Alyssa has been just extremely strong at for us in our program, and why I feel we will be very successful again.
Coach, you kind of feel that identity out of your team already and kind of know which direction you're going with the product that you're putting out this year? Or is it something that you think still, I mean, is it a vision that you have the way this season's going to go?
I'm laughing because no. I mean, we have an idea of where we want to go. We have an idea of what we want to do. I also think we as a staff know the potential this group has. We talked about that at practice the other day, where we're like, listen, we can be special, but we can't be satisfied. We're going to make mistakes. Those mistakes are going to happen. We can't worry about them. We got to keep pushing forward, and they have. And I think, I think some of them are starting to understand. Wow, that this could be something. We can do things here this year. We don't have to wait a year. We don't have to wait 2 years. And I'll tell you what, Adreana Sadowski does not want to wait 2 years because she won't be here. So, and I think that's the other thing that I always find interesting with seniors, why they lead so well that final year, is because they know this is it, and they want number one to be the team that goes the furthest. Her class, she wants to be the one that goes the furthest. It's like a little good competition that we've had here over the last five years. And the other thing is, I think what drives her is she also doesn't want to be that first class that doesn't win the East, that doesn't win 20 games, that doesn't get to the NCAA tournament. And if you look at the last 4 years, we've played for some championship, either the PSAC championship or the regional championship. So there's a string there that that she doesn't want to break either. So there's a lot of momentum and there's a lot of motivation here. And I think the players see that, and I think it excites them. I do.
Well, you always sound exciting, and you talk about you a little bit, and I know it's not easy talking about yourself, but you're always passionate, you're always optimistic, and talk about that energy, because you're a guy that seems like you don't want to be outworked by anybody. Tell us a little about your background of coaching and get into that part as to who you are, Bill Cleary at Bloomsburg University.
Well, for me, I'm a guy that I wear my heart on my sleeve. You you stand with me. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Those things, and I think I was fortunate. I've always wanted to be a college basketball coach. It's what I've always wanted to do. It's always what I dreamed of doing. I've been fortunate. I've worked. I went to Villanova, graduated in 1998, and worked as a men's basketball manager for the men's basketball team at the time. And 3 of my 4 years there, we made the NCAA tournament, finished in the top 10 in the country. So you got that taste, you got that feel that this is what I really wanted to do. I worked for a great guy. I graduated by the name of Chris Mooney. He's the head men's basketball coach at the University of Richmond. Learned so much from Moon. Just one of the smartest basketball guys I've ever worked with. Talked about always. I learned a lot in terms of always being ready, no matter what. Like, the preparation. Okay, well, they run this play, but they could run this out of it, or this run or this out of it. So, the players they laugh. I'm like, all right, well, this is their play, but they could do this, they could do this, they could do this, and we're always right in those times where in the course of the game that happens, and they're like, how'd you know? And like, you prepare, and Chris really did. I learned that from Chris a lot. And then worked for a guy by the name of Paul Hewitt, one of the most genuine guys in the game. I was a grad assistant at Georgia Tech for 2 years with Paul, and I learned so much from him. Learned that you want to play, the style of play I learned from him. Just all the little things. I think, like, even to the point of you need to take the admissions guy out to lunch once a month. You need to take, this person out to lunch once a month. I mean, all those little things that have helped make our program better that you wouldn't even think of. I learned from him, and again, just how to treat people. I mean, because Paul's, in my opinion, is one of the best in the business at doing that. And I've been very fortunate. I've worked for some very great people.
A family guy, a hardworking guy, and having a whole lot of fun at Bloomsburg University and a real nice career. Bill, we're rooting for you this year, and hope you continue to get some wins and a big weekend coming up for Bloomsburg University.
John, thank you so much. Appreciate it. I always appreciate the time you take for you to talk about our program here. It means a lot. So thank you so much.
Continued success. Bill Cleary from the Bloomsburg women's basketball program here on the John Mendola Show. We're driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers.